Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. In today's video we are going to be doing an update of Washington Reagan National Airport. This is the 32nd update of Washington Reagan and we have a very good one today. We do indeed have some new models, including this one that you see on your screen now, and as well as that we also have this amazing lighting from outside. It's one of those amazing crisp, sunny kind of winter days and the lighting today is very good. So what's better than to make the most of that and record an update? And so starting off in front of you here we have a Delta A321. He's making the Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson turn. He's just holding short of the runway and then he's going to be heading out there. This is the brand new NG models Delta A321. I only went for one of them because I don't really need more than one of these. However, these do come to both Washington Dulles and Washington Reagan and Baltimore as well, so it's a pretty needed plane, I must say. Delta currently are operating the Atlanta routes 7 times daily. 5 of those daily routes are on the A321 and then the extra 2 are actually on A320s. And as Atlanta is probably Delta's main route, I decided to send him out to Atlanta. It would be very cool for a company to release either a Delta A319 or a Delta A320 or both, because those are 2 other aircraft that I really need for both Washington Reagan, Washington Dulles and Baltimore Thurgood. But yeah, as I said, this Delta A321, he's going to be heading out to Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson. And next up, moving on to the American Eagle aircraft. For this update we have this American Eagle Embraer E175. He's just arrived in from Tampa and he's going to be heading out to Savannah. Next up we have this American Eagle E175. He's arrived in from West Palm Beach in Florida and he's going to be heading back down to Key West in also Florida. Then next up here we have an American Eagle CRJ 700. He's just arrived in from Fort Myers and he's going to be heading out to Albany. And then concluding the American Eagle section, here we have 2 American Eagle CRJ 200s. The first one on your right has just arrived in from Norfolk and he's going to be heading out to Chattanooga, and the one on the left is an American Eagle CRJ 200. As I said, he's arrived in from Charleston and he's going to be heading out to Philadelphia. Again, the CRJ 200s are actually going to be / are retired, but because of the lack of American Eagle aircraft and express jets in general from Gemini Jets and NG, I am including these until we get either a re-release of the CRJ 700, we get a CRJ 900 or an ERJ 145. Personally, I'm rooting for the ERJ 145, although I would love to see a CRJ 900 rather. I think I would prefer to see an ERJ 145, well ideally both, that would be the ideal world, but we know with Gemini Jets especially, we don't exactly always get what we want. Then here, just taxiing out to the runway, we have a Frontier A320. He's going to be heading out to Denver or Mile High Aviation's airport. Again, Denver is the only route Frontier operates out of Washington Reagan, and they have been operating that through the virus. So props to them for actually keeping up this route. So well done to Frontier, I guess. And next here, moving on to the American mainlines here we have an American A321. He's arrived in from Phoenix, Arizona, and he's going to be heading out to Los Angeles in California. Again, those routes are both operated on the A321neo. I really do need to get an A321neo. I was thinking about getting the Gemini Jets one initially, but I'm kind of hoping for NG to release one. That would be really good, because of course NG crushed the neo molds, of course, with the correct size engines that Gemini Jets can't seem to get their heads around. Although to be fair, the Gemini Jets Neo mold isn't terrible. The A321 Neo, it's not terrible. It's just a little bit on the larger side. Then next here we have an American 737-800. He's just arrived in from Miami and he's going to be heading out to Charlotte. Again, I do need to increase on the 737s. I did initially order 2 plain livery American 737s. One did arrive, that one is currently broken. I've still got to fix that. So I'm really hoping, just like NG did with the United 737, I'm really hoping they do a re-release of the American 737-800. I'll probably buy 2 of them to accompany the one that I have now. Then we'll have 3 of them, because actually these 3 aircraft that I'm going through now, these 3 mainline aircraft, are the only mainline aircraft that I can use at Reagan. Of course, I've got the 757, the 737 MAX, and the Chromes, but these 3 are the only 3 that I can currently use, which is kind of sad. But concluding the American mainlines here we have an American A320. He's just arrived in from New York LaGuardia, and he's going to be heading out to Boston. Now both of those routes are actually A319 routes, but I decided to include them anyway because, well, I don't really have an A319. A320 is the closest thing we can get. Again, I would love to see an American A319. We did get the United A319, so I'm hoping maybe that might trigger Gemini Jets to also release a few more A319s, maybe Delta and American, because those are two A319 aircraft that I really do need. I'd probably get 2 of each, 2 Delta A319s and 2 American A319s. And then next here we have a new model as well. This is the Southwest Airlines 737-800 in the Canyon Blue livery. The only difference between this one and the one I already have is this one is the non-scimitar version. There are a few of these still knocking about, but I'm sure maybe they'll adapt them into scimitars. I was kind of 50-50 on getting this one, just because of course I'm trying to head towards getting more heart liveries rather than going down the Canyon Blue and special livery route, just to make it kind of a little bit more realistic. But I decided to get it anyway because, you know, with Southwest it's the more the merrier, and I could afford it at the time, so I decided to get it. But this Southwest 737-800, he's arrived in from Denver, and he's going to be heading out to Chicago Midway. Next here we have JetBlue. This is the A320. He's arrived in from San Juan, and he's going to be heading out to Fort Lauderdale. Again, both these routes are A320 routes now, which is really good. If you don't know, I've kind of been kicking myself for quite a while because, of course, primarily we just get E190s out of Reagan, but now we are starting to get a few more A320 routes than we used to get, so that's pretty good. It's generally now, with the exception to Orlando. Orlando does, of course, occasionally get the A320, sorry, but generally, and this is very rough, but generally when it comes to JetBlue, any routes going north, so New York, JFK and Boston, it's the E190. Any routes going south, it's the A320. Again, there are a few exceptions to that rule, but generally that's how it seems to be going, which is quite cool, to be fair. I'm just glad that, of course, I can include a realistic A320 route, and I would love to get an E190 or an A220 because, of course, the A220s are ultimately going to be replacing the E190s, so yeah, I'm just kind of waiting in there for the A220. Next here, of course, we have the classic Alaska A321neo. He's doing the Seattle turn, so he arrived in from Seattle. He's going to be heading back out to Seattle. And then next here we have the Alaska A320. Now, usually I have to put in a disclaimer and say this route isn't realistic, but this one is. I actually saw this today from when I'm recording this. An Alaska A320 was doing the Los Angeles route from Los Angeles to Reagan and back, so he's going to be heading out to LAX. That's pretty cool. Again, Alaska are pretty weird when it comes to routes. They just keep on changing their aircraft. It's been pretty much A321neos to Reagan for quite some time now, but I'm finally glad that we're getting some A320s in there as well. It would be cool to get some 737s, but there we go. And then next here we have a United Express E175. He's arrived in from Chicago O'Hare, and he's going to be heading out to New York Newark. Next down we have an Air Canada E175. He's going to be heading out to Toronto. He's doing the Toronto turn, so from down to Toronto, then just heading straight back up to Toronto. And then next here we have the only United mainline of this update. We have a United 737-800 in the older livery. He's arrived in from San Francisco, and he's going to be heading out to Los Angeles. Next here, just being pushed back, we have a United E175. He's arrived in from Houston or Keep Flying's airport, and he's going to be heading out to Denver. Next here we have a Delta CRJ 200. He's arrived in from New York JFK, and he's going to be heading out to Lexington. Again, the Delta Connection CRJs, I wish they would release more of these. We had the United 550 mold. They could easily repurpose that into a CRJ 700 for Delta and American, to be fair. I would love to see that. And then of course there's the CRJ 900. I'm just going to stop complaining about it at this point because I do it all the time, and although it is needed, I got to raise my voice. But you know, Gemini Jets, they just like to take their sweet time with things. So yeah, he's arrived in from New York JFK, and he's going to be heading out to Lexington. Next here we have a Delta A220. He's arrived in from Minneapolis and he's going to be heading up to Detroit. Again, this is an A319/A320 route, so it'd be cool if I could get an A320 or A319 to operate these routes, because the A220 isn't really realistic, but I decided to add the A220 in because that's kind of the closest I could get to an A320. So I've added him in. He's arrived in from Minneapolis, as I said, and he's going to be heading out to Detroit. And then finally, to conclude this update, we have a Southwest Airlines 737-700. He's arrived in from Dallas Love Field, or Alonzo DFW Aviation's airport, and he's going to be heading out to New Orleans. That does conclude this update of Washington Reagan National Airport. I hope you did enjoy. I hope you especially enjoyed this one, because I've realized that this is actually going to be the last Reagan update of 2020. I kind of had to do a double take when figuring that out, but it's true, this is the last one of 2020. We're getting so close to 2021 now, it's insane. But yeah, it's crazy to think that this is the last one of 2020. We'll have next week, we'll have a Baltimore update. Week after that, we'll have a suggested update. Then we go into December, where I kind of take a break on updates. I don't really upload updates during that, but I do upload that one festive update. So apart from this one, including this one, we have 4 more updates of 2020, which is insane. I can't believe we're at that point. 2021 is approaching. Let's just hope for a better year than 2020. I'm hoping I can actually travel next year. Unlike this year, of course. I had so many things planned this year that I've had to postpone to 2021. But hopefully we can all bundle that into 2021 for a nice condensed year of travel and actually going outside, unlike this year. But yeah, I hope you did enjoy this update. Again, we had some really nice lighting for this update. So yeah, as I said, I hope you did enjoy this update, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.